Viewers, the latest news about Ethiopia, Amhara, and Tigray region is that viewers, we are receiving reports from several reliable sources that the war between Eritrean Defense Force and Tigray Defense Force has intensified over the past several days in the areas of Tigray region on Eritrea-Tigray border. And there are various reports from Tigray Defense Force sources and many other that I will share with you in this video. Because if you remember, I told you in the previous video that we are receiving reports from Tigray Defense Force and citizens that fighting is going on in areas around Shiraro in Tigray region. Although the Ethiopian National Defense Force side claimed that Ethiopian National Defense Force soldiers will not enter the Tigray region. But the ongoing war on the Tigray-Eritrea border. Eritrean Defense Force has the support of Ethiopian National Defense Force, Amhara forces and militias. As there are Ethiopian National Defense Force, Amhara forces and militia soldiers in Western Tigray, they can easily get along with Eritrean Defense Force soldiers, and many reports that Eritrean soldiers also present in many areas of Western Tigray. Because it is not surprising that soldiers of Ethiopian National Defense Force and Amhara forces are supporting Eritrean Defense Force. For the past 1 year, we have been seeing how Eritrean Defense Force and Ethiopian National Defense Force soldiers are supporting each other against Tigray Defense Force in battlefield. But now the situation at the Eritrea-Tigray border has deteriorated considerably. Heavy weapons are being used from both sides, and according to the reports received by Tigray Defense Force sources so far, Tigray Defense Force has won several victories against Eritrean Defense Force and its allies in ongoing fighting in areas around Shiraro and in northwest Tigray. And there have been reports from Tigray Defense Force sources that Tigray Defense Force has killed dozens of Eritrean Defense Force soldiers, but heavy war is still going on in many areas of northwest Tigray. Viewers, and fighter jets and drones also taking part in this war. According to the reports, using drone weapons and experts from Iran, UAE, Turkey and China, the Ethiopian government have murdered over 200 Tigrayan women and children in the past 3 weeks alone. It was reported that in Dadibit, 56 people killed and 128 being injured due to the air strikes. And in Almata, 48 people killed and 150 being injured. And in Mekelle, 33 people killed and 110 injured. In Milazat, 30 people killed and 8 injured. And in Daire Hafash, 25 people killed. And in Metasabri, 20 people killed and 10 plus being injured. In Koram, 15 people killed and 4 injured. In Shaire and Aghzam, 7 people killed and 34 being injured. And in Mechiu, 3 people killed, 7 injured. And in Churcher, 2 people killed and 4 injured due to the air strikes by the Ethiopian Air Force. And according to the latest reports from Tigray People Liberation Front spokesman Getachew Reda, Eritrean forces shelling our positions for a second day in a row after a hiatus of shots following their attacks 4 days ago. massive build-up of infantry as well as mechanized units in multiple fronts. And it turned around. It did not work the first time around. But on the other hand, news coming out of Addis Ababa suggests that the conflict in Ethiopia is entering a new phase. For over a year, momentum seemed to be forever driving toward worsening violence between the federal government, its allies, and the Tigray People's Liberation Front, as well as deepening rift between the Ethiopian government and international partners, including the United States. But now, the Tigray People Liberation Front has retreated back to Tigray, and federal ground forces have declined to advance on the region. And Ethiopian authorities have freed prominent opposition leaders from prison, including members of Tigray People Liberation Front and Oromo groups that have been at odds with the government, framing the pardons and amnesty as a step toward unity and reconciliation. Viewers, last month, lawmakers approved the establishment of a national dialogue commission that will seek political solutions to the multiple fractures in Ethiopia society. And while the dialogue, as envisioned, will not include armed opponents of the government, it could perhaps create a pathway toward more inclusive and constitutional talks. But not all the news is good. Humanitarian conditions in Tigray are as dire as ever, in large part because the Ethiopian government continues to impede access to the region. And ongoing aerial attacks on civilian targets are exacerbating the loss of suffering, killing Ethiopians and refugees, and prompting aid organizations to suspend operations because they cannot safely do their work. And this weekend, the Tigray People Liberation Front claimed that Eritrean forces were continuing to fight in Tigray, a claim that, if true, would render the restraint of federal forces far less meaningful. Meanwhile, many Ethiopians who were swept up in a wave of dubious arrests targeting human rights activists, journalists, and ethnic Tigrayan Ethiopians, whose only crime seemed to be their ethnicity, are still detained. And the Biden administration is assessing these developments and trying to capitalize on the positive trends as its transition from special envoy for the Horn of Africa, Jeffrey Feltman, whose resignation was announced last week, to his successor, David Satterfield. It will be important to resist the temptation of wishful thinking in this moment and to ensure that a desire for a rest of the bilateral relationship does not lead to a selective reading of the latest developments. And there are positive signs but doubts over the sincerity of the government's desire for peace persist, as do real questions about the sustainability of steps toward peace. Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed political base may have been unified in its animus toward the Tigray People Liberation Front, but without an urgent threat from a common enemy, competing and sometimes contradictory interests will be hard to specify. And some of the militant Amhara nationalists that Abiy relied on over the past year already view the latest amnesties as a betrayal. Eritrea will continue to pursue its own agenda, which does not entail standing down while Ethiopians resolve their political differences peacefully and emerge a stronger and more just society. Whose accountability for atrocities committed by all parties to the conflict remain elusive. Over the past year, Abiy and his supporters have used the history of US Ethiopia relations as a cudgel, pointing to Washington's tendency to overlook internal repression and abuse during the year of TPLF dominance to question US motives. It would be ironic if American desires to end this difficult period led to repeating the same mistakes. Of course, the United States wants a productive relationship with Ethiopia, especially a just, peaceful Ethiopia that models a successful, heterogeneous society, champions democratic norms, and supports African institutions. But good relations with the government in Addis Ababa are not worth much if the country is tearing itself apart, simmering with grievances that explode into violence, or practicing and exporting the kind of brutal authoritarian governance that characterizes Eritrea. The United States should take care to consider the totality of the picture in Ethiopia today, remembering that it is the ultimate cause of that influential country, not report with any one leader that matters most. So viewers, so far the latest update. For more latest update, please subscribe channel. Thanks for watching.